Hello again, Honors Group. I just wanted to spend a little bit of time walking through some of the Springboard concepts that we worked on this week, that you worked on this week, that I didn't want to put in the other video just because it didn't pertain to the other classes. You might remember earlier in the year, we had worked through the strategy called a SIFT strategy. We did that when we worked with the Cask of Amontillado and the Gift of the Magi. So we're going to do that again with this piece. The SIFT strategy is something you will continue to use if you stay on the honors track and if you continue into AP Lang and especially in AP Lit. So this is the sheet that you have. So I just want to walk through it briefly. It won't take a bunch of time, but I want you to be thinking about how to sift this passage is what we say. And it is a part of your assignment this week. It's just this last piece of it. So I want you to start with thinking about, is there any symbolism in this piece? Remember, there's not symbolism in everything, and we don't want to make something a symbol when it's not. But oftentimes there is intentional symbolism that the author's created. So if there's a symbol, what details, remember that's that text evidence that you get, that's the proof. Just saying that's a symbol doesn't make it a symbol. Like, what proof do I have that makes it a symbol? Why do I say that that's a symbol? What did the writer, the author, do for me as a reader that made me come to this conclusion that this is a symbol? So what evidence do I have? And then what effect does that have on what's going on in the story or the plot? What meanings, hidden meanings, or other details does it relate to? Or does it help set the tone for, set the pace for in the next event? So think about the effect of that symbol, what it does for the piece of literature. The next part of SIFT, so the S is symbol, the I is imagery. Again, this would be text evidence here. What imagery do I have? Think about the flashback I can think of in the leaf that I used about when she goes back to sewing and she can smell and hear and feel. Right? That's imagery. So I want the text evidence of that. And then again, what is the effect? Why is that important? When you're analyzing literature, you're always thinking, so what? Why does this matter? Why did the author use it? Or why should the reader care? The F of SIFT is figurative language. And that's all of the different techniques that we've learned about this year. But think if you could find any, maybe there's a simile, there's a metaphor, there might be some onomatopoeia, those sounds. Maybe there's a flashback. Maybe there's some foreshadowing that's working there. Maybe there's repetition. There might be alliteration where we hear that same sound repeated over and over again. There could be parallelism going through there, the same grammatical structure being repeated over and over again. I also think that sometimes an author, some of the figurative language can be imagery, but since the I of SIFT is imagery, I'd like you just to focus on other figurative language for this particular process. After you finish the F of SIFT, the last one is the T. That's tone or theme. So if the tone, sometimes if it's a poem, it's more of the tone. There's not always a theme coming out of that. So you might sift a poem and come up with the tone. Remember, that's the author's attitude, how they feel about the topic or what they want to deliver to the audience. The theme is usually in a piece of fiction. It can be a nonfiction as well. That's the lesson that we walk away with about life that we can apply to life. So in this particular piece, it would be the theme. And next week's assignment, you're going to write an actual short reflection on theme. For your process today, you're just going to put what the theme is and what the effect is, or what it does for the piece of literature. Next week, you'll write about it. You'll prove that it's the theme. The next part that you're working on in your vocabulary was this analyzing a word. Oftentimes, as you continue through the honors track and you move into your AP classes, you're going to continuously come back to this idea of analyzing words. Words matter. The words you use when you speak, the words you use when you write, and the words that the author uses when we read literature. For this particular task, I just want you practicing how to analyze these words. It's not something that you need to have mastered yet, but I want you to have an introduction to it because you'll continue to do that, I hope, as you move through your educational English career, at least at Helena High, depending on your teacher, but I'm pretty confident you'll see it again. So for this particular piece, just pick a word. You can use one of the bolded words that you didn't go into too much detail with the assignment, or another word that comes out of the passage that might be considered to be some critical vocabulary. Pick a word that you think has some intentionality to it. Of course, not words like the and the pronouns they and me and my, but a word that you think the author has intentionally chosen when they could have chosen something else. Think about what that word means. How else could have they said it? What does that word do for the writing, do for the passage, and what effect does it have on maybe setting the tone or creating the theme or the symbolism or the imagery or all of those? What does it do for the literature and the reader as they're reading it? So that's what I want you thinking about in addition to the other parts of the assignment. As an honor student, you're going to be asked to continually and continuously be thinking, remember, on that deeper level. And so that's what we're going to do this week with these two pieces of our Springboard activities. If you have questions, bop into office hours, shoot me an email. You know that I am easy to find and I'm usually pretty quick to respond. Okay? Have a great day. Get out there, get some sunshine, call a friend, call a family member, make someone else's day. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye.